Welcome to ASTE 6170, Program Planning and Evaluation. My name is Deborah Spielmaker, and my co-instructor this semester is Dr. Rose Judd Murray. Together, we will be facilitating your learning throughout the next 15 weeks in this course. This video is really designed to provide an introduction to myself and to introduce or orient you to the course within Canvas. Those of you who have arrived at or who have already had a Canvas course know about the navigation here and understand how to set up your notifications and settings and so forth. Those of you where this may be new to you might want to poke around a little bit, learn a little bit more about the settings here, make sure that you are set up to get notifications. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that because we've got super users in this group and then those who begin, and somewhere the beginners are going to start to catch up because really it's a pretty simple program to navigate. But I do want to give you an orientation to the course. And again, if you've arrived at this video, you've already been on week 1. And if you first came into this home page for our course, you may have noticed, well, my menu might look a little longer because I'm looking at the instructor view. But you can see that there are 3 ways to access the syllabus here on this link, right here, and there's a little start here with a little introduction to myself, a weekly course list, and of course an APA research help. But you've got a syllabus look here, one at this navigation point, another one here, and then if you are in week 1, which is probably where you are because you're watching this video, there's another link right here. But before I get too far into the course content, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I was a high school ag teacher, and then I taught middle school agriculture, science, and business. And so I've taught in a variety of current technical education areas, all of CTE. I am currently the graduate program director here in the School of Applied Sciences, Technology, and Education. I teach courses in the graduate program and mentor graduate students, and that's 70% of my time. I'm also the team leader for the National Center for Agricultural Literacy, which is housed here at Utah State. Because after I did my formal work with middle school and high school students, for about 27 years. I've been here at Utah State, and of those 25 years were spent working within Utah State University Extension. And so I'm very familiar with program planning and program evaluation and extension programming. I do have some hobbies in my free time that I like to do, which is play hockey, do some mountain biking, of course, do some skiing, and I prefer cross-country skiing to downhill skiing. It's just quieter, seems a lot less intense. So that's a little bit about me and my experience both as a formal educator and a non-formal educator within Extension, and being familiar with a variety of programs within those areas. Again, in the School of Applied Sciences, we are the home of all career technical education. That means we have everybody under one roof, and in that area, family consumer sciences, business education, ag education, technology, engineering education, and we also have some other programs that are all related to the CTE family at some of our regional campuses. So that's a little bit about me. If you take a look then at the course, and those of you who've already popped open the syllabus, great. Oh, and before every week at the beginning here in the readings, there's going to be a link that reminds you to view the most current announcement. Canvas has this ability to put on the home page a look at announcements on that home page, but it made my graphic look ugly on the home page, so I didn't like it. And also, I feel like students sometimes they're using the next button here, and they never really do go back to the home page. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So at the beginning of every module, you're going to see the View Most Current Announcement. That is extremely important, not only to make sure you're current with what's going on in class, if we've changed a due date or anything like that, but because I use that tool to do the reflection posting of the previous week's work, whether it be a GIST quiz or a reflection on an assignment that you've put out, or, and most importantly, a synthesis of the discussions that were taking place during the week. For example, this class is large enough that we will have, when we have discussions, probably 4, maybe 5 discussion groups. You won't then be able to see what the other groups are saying. My job as an instructor, and if I were doing this course face-to-face, would be to gather a summary from you and then synthesize that information to make sure that we all understood what was being said about that topic. And so nothing different here, except for on Sunday evening when all of your discussion posts are due. The first thing I do on Monday morning is read every single word, comment back to you, and then make a video post that synthesizes what took place inside of those discussions, so we have a clear takeaway, so you know that, yes, that was what I was thinking, or shoot, that's a new way of thinking that I hadn't thought about. So please, that link right there, you should have a notification. There's a new announcement in this course. But this is the reminder. Maybe you get that announcement at 4 or 5 o'clock on a Monday and you don't come into this course until Tuesday, and if you've dismissed that announcement, it's gone, and if I don't put it here at the beginning, you forget all about it. So we'll try something new here. Students, I talked to a few students who said, yeah, that might really help. And also, like I mentioned, I didn't like the Canvas tool putting on top of my banner. It made it look ugly on the homepage. Okay, so that's what that's all about. Syllabus, we'll take a look at that. Your text readings here, the videos, which I'm making right now, will appear right here. And then below here are the activities for the week. Each week, you just go on to the next week, which is module, week 2. That's the next module or week in this course. But the next thing we want to do is take a closer look at this syllabus, of which there are 3 ways to get to, as I already mentioned. Those of you who want a copy that's printed so you can see it in front of you, can have a copy at home. Just use it for quick reference. It's right here. It has the readings of the chapters in your text, but obviously there's just not enough room for us to put all the Canvas readings. I could put links in there, but then why do that? Because it's already online. So there will be additional readings to what you see in the paper version inside of Canvas, and I note that at the end of the schedule. Here's the contact information for myself and Dr. Murray, or Judd Murray, and you can expect a response from us within 24 to 48 hours. This says excluding weekends, but don't be too surprised if you get something on a weekend. And then I want to draw your attention to this. Please use the Canvas email app. It's really slow. I don't love it, but what it does is it keeps our conversation inside the course. If you send a conversation about this course to my email through just your email Outlook or Gmail or something, it comes into my pile of emails, of which there are a lot, and then I have to remember what you said related to the course and then put that comment back into Canvas anyway. So it's just a lot easier if you talk to me about this course inside of Canvas. That said, you need advising, you don't know how to do your program and study, you got something else you need to ask, yes, feel free to contact me outside of the course, but this just keeps things all in one place. And yes, it's a slow one, especially if you're the advisor or the instructor, and there's multiple people that it's trying to populate into it, but for you folks, it probably is a better experience than it is for me. Okay, back over here on the right side, these are the weighted groupings for assignments, which is already outlined here. It's outlined in Canvas because I've set it up that way for grading purposes, but it's also discussed in the syllabus. This course is, I'm using a model, a theoretical framework, if you will, of project-based learning. Most of you are familiar with projects for learning. We've had those in school all the time. Your instructor or your teacher comes in and says, together we're all going to make this. These are all the measurements. You're all going to bake this, use the same recipe for cookies. Of course, those never turn out quite the same, but even though you all are doing the same project for learning, maybe you're learning about measuring or you're learning about the materials, whatever it might be, that's a project for learning. Project-based learning is where you kind of come up with a driving question that you're trying to answer. In our case, what is the best programming that's going to suit the needs of people in a particular location, whether it be at a county, a technical center, wherever it is? That's our driving question. And there are going to be multiple ways to answer that question. You'll be working in groups to answer that question and developing a program plan, an evaluation plan that can then be turned into a funding proposal to execute a particular project or program within a location, of which you will pretty much self-select. I'll probably put, some of you I know I'm going to put in a certain group, but others of you might want to pick a particular locale, but you will be working in groups on that. So, interested in project-based learning? Click on that link to learn more. Course objectives. And I just realized that in this course I don't have the objective posted on each weekly module. I'll probably make that happen where you'll see the objectives for each week, but there are only 7, and everything is really tied together in the one giant project that we have, assignment number 4. So the first one, critically analyze social education problems and conduct a needs assessment, phase 1, assignment 4. 2, apply the procedures in protecting the rights of the welfare of human participants in a research setting. You will be taking the CITY training. The CITY training, can't remember what it stands for, but it is basically a module training. I think their headquarters are in Florida. Utah State University honors their certificate that you will all receive at the end of the day, a self-paced module that takes somewhere between 2 and 3 hours, depending how fast you read. You can come back to it. But basically that module provides for you some instruction about dealing with human subjects in research. And those of you who are doing program planning, needs assessments, working with the public, and especially if you're working with kids, all human subjects that have special welfare considerations. So without going too much into that, that is really objective 2. And those of you who know exactly what I'm talking about already and have already taken the city, you'll just, the city certification, you will just provide for me the number of your certificate, and boom, you're done with that assignment. So you don't have to worry about that. All of you doing a thesis, all of you doing a dissertation, this is required. You can't submit your proposal successfully to IRB without putting in your certification number. That goes for instructors, professors as well. We have to certify, and I think it runs every 3 years. I think I have to redo it. So last year I redid mine, so I'm pretty good. 3, plan and design an intervention. That's going to be part of assignment 4. Develop an appropriate budget. Again, part of assignment 4, phase 4C. Develop a frame evaluation projects. That's also part of 4C. This big proposal you're going to roll into one document. 6, plan and design evaluations based on stakeholder input and the purpose of evaluation, using appropriate methods for data collection and analysis. That's going to tie together assignment 4A, B, and C in that one final proposal that you submit. And then the last one here is develop skills related to submitting and presenting a program proposal complete with an evaluation. You actually will be doing an oral presentation in your groups. No, it does not mean that you have to like all go to each other's home location. You're scattered all over the state, and I've got some students from out of state. But you will figure out ways to use technology to cobble together the pieces of that presentation that you will present. So more on that later. We don't have to make this video any longer than it's going to need to be by going through this. Course text and readings. You should have seen the required text when you registered. If you don't own this book and it's Monday right now, the first week, you need to get it pretty quick. These first 2 weeks, we're doing 2 chapters at a whack. To get us a little bit ahead so that you can go to work immediately within these counties, these locations, and have a maximum amount of time to do this big project. So we're kind of doubling up here at the beginning with the readings. You also have another required text, which is a survey playbook on how to create the perfect survey. This particular book, well, actually this concept, I didn't even have it when I first taught this course. This is the second time I've taught the course structured in this way. But I taught it, I think so this is my 3rd time overall. The first time I just kind of took what the instructor had done before, and there was no section on students writing survey questions. And then when I received what questions they were asking, I went, they can't ask that. Nobody knows what they mean by that. There's no way to answer that. So, or the response system is wrong, and all sorts of other things that can go wrong with a survey. So we'll be spending some time about writing survey questions. You'll probably have an experience where you're going to put them either into a Google form or into Qualtrics, something like that, so you have that experience. Down here, these are highly recommended texts. Those of you who are in dissertation or thesis, you should own the APA manual. Those of you who maybe aren't going to be that far ahead, maybe you're not going to be to your proposal state in your degree program until next summer, maybe don't worry about it, because word on the street, and I should have looked this up, but there is the next version, version 7 is supposed to be out, I think, early next year, so you may want to hold off. Hardware and software. You are in an online course. You're going to need a camera. You're going to need high-speed internet. You're going to want to have your browser tuned up and ready to go because, again, you're in an online course. And that means you want to have the least amount of frustration to get your work done. So I encourage you to make sure all of that is tuned up, and there's a little bit more there about how to contact Canvas if you need help. My expectation really is back on you. The expectation is that you will get more out of this class by the amount of effort that you put in. And there's been a lot of conversation about, well, how long does it really take inside of an online course? There is more reading. There's typically more writing. Everybody gets to respond. It's not like there's this confined space and time within a 60-minute lecture where everyone's got to put their thoughts together. And it never happens. You have the 5 same people answering the question. An online course, everyone responds. And so there's a little bit more work for everyone. But hopefully the learning gains can be huge. So think of it this way. If you are taking a 1-credit class, rule of thumb, if you're an undergraduate, it's for every 1 hour in, 2 hours out. Graduate student, for every 1 hour in, 3 to 5 hours out. Now you are taking a 3-credit class, so it gets a little bit bigger. If it's a 3-credit class, an undergraduate is going to spend 6 hours out. A graduate student is going to spend 9 to 10 hours out. So budget your time accordingly. Some weeks will have more, some weeks will have less, and that's why if you're working full-time and in a graduate program, 2 classes is a full load. I hope that makes sense. For those of you who are new to APA, and please, I am paraphrasing a lot of this. I really encourage you to read the syllabus in its entirety. Those of you who are unfamiliar with APA, it is asked for in all the assignments that you submit here where it's writing intense. And so here's some links to some modules that should help you. And then, of course, a link to the APA edition style guide. There's some, it's online. You can use it that way. If you are in the part where you're writing a proposal for a thesis or dissertation, buy the book. But you don't have to have it for this course. Coursework schedule, I've already talked about that a little bit in terms of your workload. I mentioned that the announcements are an important place for you to see the wrap-up of the previous week. So when you come in on a Monday, if it were me, my flow would be coming on a Monday. Watch Spielmaker and Judd Murray's reflection from Monday, Tuesday, maybe Monday night I'm starting my reading, and Tuesday I'm off doing the readings and so forth to get to the discussion posts, the quiz, and so forth later in the week. That would be my workflow. Weekly modules, we are going to be releasing those 1 to 2 weeks prior to their actual Monday release date. And hopefully we don't get too far behind because this class has been reworked quite a bit. But right now we are planning on 1 to 2 weeks release. That means those of you who have life happen to you, you're going on a trip, you've got a kid doing something, you can get a little bit ahead in the reading. The discussions, however, are locked down. They are released. So if Monday begins our week, the discussion prompts for that week that's on Monday are released like Thursday. So if you have more time on the weekend, you could answer the discussion prompts on a weekend before the week starts if you've done all the reading. But once that week ends, discussion posts are over. That's it. They're due. We're not going back in time to that discussion. We've moved on to the next topic. But 1 to 2 weeks ahead is what you can plan on, so you can do some reading. You might be able to answer the discussion questions a few days early. Let us know if there's going to be a situation where you are needing to miss big chunks of time, trying to make some accommodations if it makes sense. The other thing about online learning is you can pretty much do it from anywhere. Probably every semester I have a student make some sort of video or post from their car or minivan that they've had a few minutes to do a reflection or a post in that setting, and that works too. So that's the beauty of an online course, is the flexibility. Evaluation and grades, it's pretty straightforward, but again, find a 10 to 15 hours of this and working and watching videos. 25% of your grade is on discussions. It's not graded as heavily in this course as I have in some of my other ones because I'm not going to be privy to every discussion and conversation you're going to have in your teams for that big project that you're working on this semester. But there will be, I think there's 7 or 8 discussions here inside of Canvas in the course where we will respond to you, and these will be 25% of your grade. So we have 3 posts that's required in the discussion. I'm going to spend just a moment on this because it is really important that you understand it. And if after you watch this video you still don't quite get it, I encourage you to go back and read this section, because every semester it seems like I have a student come up to me and go, I didn't really understand the discussions and how we're supposed to post. Here it is. You're going to be given a prompt. It might be a few questions in a discussion post, and you are to respond. That's post 1, and it'll be linked to each weekly module. You will not be able to see anybody else's post until you respond to that question. As soon as you hit post, now you can see your colleagues and what they are saying. And again, you will be in groups. This is a big class. There'll be 4 or 5 of you in each discussion group. You will then be able to see if anyone else has. Maybe you could be the first, but you will see your classmates' posts. That's on Thursday at 8 o'clock, and it usually means you've read all the material, or at least some of it, to answer that discussion post. I always ask higher order questions, thoughtful questions. There won't be any yes or no. So you can look at them, but you should then use the resources you have in your own experience to answer those questions. Post 2 is due on Friday night by 8 o'clock. So that means you've posted, you see nobody else has, but of course by 8 o'clock a few more will rolled in there. And then Friday you can then respond. So after you post a response to my initial question, you can see your classmates. You're then expected to pose another question from the current week's readings to your classmates. And so here's a place for you to ask them a question about what they've posted or comment on something that they've said. So asking an opinion of them, though, about what they've posted is considered a lower order question. And if you ask an opinion-based question, be sure to ask how the opinion is supported with reasoning or evidence. This will ensure that there's some in-depth critical thinking in this course. And many students often will put a little citation. They don't put the whole reference, but they at least will maybe put a little small, the name of who they're citing and just a link. That works great if you want to support something you're saying that way. In terms of length of posts, answer the question, but more than 2 paragraphs usually is like a lot. So try and sum up here. In most posts, I will allow you also to make audio posts, but students have told me that while they like to make audio posts, they're harder to respond to. So we may balance that, and there may be a couple of these where I ask you for a video post or an audio post because I want to hear your voice on that topic. So just watch for that inside of the prompt. The third post has to, that's on Friday, all day Saturday goes by, maybe you're reading, maybe you're doing your GIST quiz, and then by Sunday at 8 o'clock, this is your time for posting the last question to one of your classmates' questions. So you've written your initial post, somebody's written a question or comment to you, and now you're responding back to them. Just like we would do face-to-face, only you have some bigger chunks of time to get to your machine to make those responses. Professional posts. These are the types of posts that come to you, and they are highly encouraged from people who are really interested in what you said. So you've read somebody's post, and you're like, gosh, I really want to know more about it. I have 3 posts. You're not going to get any extra credit, but feel free to use this as a discussion area to talk about things that you want to know more about. This is a graduate course. You all are taking this class because it's relevant to what you plan to do in the future. Pick each other's brains. No extra points, just professional points. And that means when I get down here from me and your colleagues that you may find benefit you in the future, either because you know something more about that or because that particular person is now a gatekeeper in a position or a job that you'd like them to write a letter for or give you some sort of recommendation for. So they're ungraded, but professional posts are awesome, and it means that you're paying attention. You wouldn't ignore them if they were in front of your face asking a question. I would recommend you don't ignore them in here. All right, please make insightful quality posts. I'm not sure exactly how much more to add on to that. If you repeat my question in your post, you have just wasted the space that everybody else is like, what are you doing? Answer the question. Be thoughtful. Give something insightful. If you really don't know about something because you have a lack of experience, talk about that. But then you can also offer what experiences you have. I really want to see, hope everyone is willing to meet the minimum posting, or better yet, surpass my expectations. You may post by typing your questions into that box. But know that shallow posts that are just a repeat of that question, or that are fluffy responses, or like 1-sentence response, and we're asking about something that's going to require more thought. I don't ask yes or no questions. I don't ask opinions. And if I do, I ask you to support it with experience or evidence. You will get, per the rubric, a lower mark on your responses. So take them very seriously, but they don't need to be. I had one student wanted to post, every single one was like 4 or 5 paragraphs every question. And then in that case, I said, dial it back, sum up, give us the important takeaway here. So use the golden rule, treat others like you would want to be treated inside of there. And obviously, if I see a post that I think is negative or goes against what I call netiquette in a discussion, you might see that Spielmaker has deleted that post. Don't take offense. I will probably send you an email as to why that happened. GIST quizzes are a quarter of your grade, which isn't a ton considering that it is kind of a lot of content, but it's just to keep you steady in the course material, and hopefully you can apply that knowledge in the project plan that you're developing and the evaluation plan you're developing. The biggie here are assignments. This is a project-based course, and the projects get the most weight. Again, APA is important, and 20% of your grade may be based on that. So I have rubrics for every one of these assignments. I think, I'm pretty sure. If not, we'll make sure there is one. No, I'm pretty confident I have a rubric for every single one. That would be my style. So you'll be able to see right away where you missed your missteps inside of an assignment. And if I really think you've missed, I'm going to ask you to do a redo. And if the redo is because you're late, it could be a 20% reduction. But if it's a redo because, you just didn't really understand it, I'm going to give you an opportunity to make for a better grade because I'd rather see learning than a low grade. You could get a 10% reduction, but sometimes I don't even do that if I really feel like you just didn't understand the concept. And for more on that, you can listen to Rick Wormelli, who's philosophically I'm aligned with on redos. Grades, pretty normal. You can read all that. Academic honesty, expected. Reasonable accommodation, we'll try and help if you're having some sort of issue within the Canvas course and being able to access resources. All right, the schedule then. You'll see Canvas keeps you kind of going on what's due when. All kinds of alarms and alerts can be set up that way. But this is an overview from the paper-based version, so you can kind of get a handle on what it is that we're doing each week. You can at least see the readings that we have in the chapter, even though sometimes it says, you know, there might be a reading inside of Canvas, of which they will be. I just can't post the entire citation here. All right, that is an overview of the course. And down here at the bottom is when things are due. And some of them you can't open yet because they haven't been unlocked, but you can see that we do have all of the assignments in place. The last thing I want to take a look at is the text. So I'll go here. Actually, wait. Let's go back to the page. Week 1. Yes, the assignments, the reading is up here on the top. The activities are here. This bullet, I really need you to submit when you can meet as a class synchronously via Zoom. It's an online course, and we're going to use an online tool to meet synchronously probably twice during this course, certainly at least once here at the get-go, and then you will be using Zoom and other technology tools to meet in smaller groups. But I need to have everybody here dialed in because by week 3, we'd like to have one big conversation with everyone about a reading, about a piece of research that's going to be kind of the guiding document, if you will, for the course. And we will be meeting with the author of that particular research at that time. So I do need you all to fill in the doodle poll there. My preference is August 12th, but I think I've left the 12th, maybe 11th, 12th, and 13th as options, but I think the 12th was best, at least for me. Assignment 1 is a video introduction of yourself. So when you click here, most of you have done this in a course, there's instructions about how to introduce yourself. It is just a 10-point introduction. If others want to comment under it, that's great. There's no extra points for that, like, hey, good to see you in here, or we have a similar interest or a similar background. That video helps me when I'm looking at site coordination and groups that might work really well together. So video introduction is important. Assignment 2, understanding an existing program. This is discussed, I believe, in chapter 1. And there is, let me just click on that for a second. There are some instructions about how to take this questionnaire and to find an existing social service agency. I've had everyone use things from food pantries down to county offices and other multiple places where there's these social service agencies, and you find the program director there and you ask them to answer this question. So that is due on September 4th, so you have a little bit of time to find that person. You can do this over a phone. You don't have to meet with them face to face, but you're just interested in their program and you're hoping that they can answer some simple questions for you about their program. Back to the weekly module. There is a quiz that then is a quiz over what the readings are, which in this case is chapters 1 and 2. That's the GIST quiz. All right, now back to the text. So you should all have a copy of this text, Designing and Managing. See if I can get up here a little bit. Programs. The word down. There we go. And this is the e-version of it. I'm not sure. It's an instructor version, so I'm not sure how different it looks from yours, but I'm sure if you get the e-version, you'll have something similar. But you're taking a look at chapter 1, and what I like about this text, there's some things I don't like because it's almost too general in some respects, but what I do like about it is this first part. I would use it as a pre-reading. Purpose of this chapter. The following topics are covered. This is what you know. In fact, this chapter 1 is an introduction to every topic or chapter in the book. So it's a really good, like, okay, where are we going? Big picture within this course. Chapter 2, the purpose of this is to really look at the theories involved in program development and program evaluation. So that, again, taking a look at the overview is really important. If I can skip back up here, though, to chapter 1. Yeah. guess it's not organized quite how I'd like it. At the end of every chapter, I'm trying to not make you too sick, but I did scroll really fast. They have these review questions. These may help you with the discussion questions. They may help you with the quiz questions, but they definitely are a mental check. Did I understand this completely from this chapter? So that's a little bit of an overview of the text and how I would recommend you use it. Get that overview. I actually like the preface quite a bit, but I do know students and they typically don't want to read or don't want to take the time to read more than really what's assigned. Plus there's plenty assigned, but the preface also gives a really good overview of the text. But going back to chapter 1 here, if you just take a quick look at this, it'll establish why this course is important, especially if you're going to be involved in social sciences and social services, and that means you're involved in an extension type of programming that's an outreach, any kind of outreach, non-governmental organization type of program will follow these same types of guidelines for program development, program evaluation, and program funding. All right, that is a 30-minute video, and comment on that. You know, sometimes people say in an online course, give the stuff to students in chunks. So I could break this up and cut it into 10-minute chunks and put 3 different videos here, part 1, part 2, part 3. But at the end of the day, some of you can't watch all of the part 1 anyway, so you're just going to come back, you're going to scroll over to where you left off and watch the rest. It's a lot easier for me to just put up the one video, and in these days where we have great bandwidth, in fact, that was one of the reasons they wanted smaller video originally, was that people didn't have the bandwidth to the technology to watch an entire 10, 15, 20-minute video. But now we have high-speed internet, and so you can just watch this as far as you can. If you need to go get a bowl of ice cream, you got to go pick up your kid from soccer, I don't know what it is, you just pause it, and you're going to come back to it anyway, and it saves me a little extra time making a bunch of chunks that you may have to stop periodically someplace anyway. So you'll see videos posted here, and usually the weekly video is going to be about 30 minutes. And then the other place that we're going to pick up a video is in the announcements, which is our weekly reflection from the previous week's work. And so together each week you're probably going to have a minimum of about 1 hour worth of video. So that's just a heads up about the way we've organized this course and the way that I would choose to view the videos in this course. Any questions that you have about the syllabus, course outline, structure, please do not hesitate to email myself or Dr. Judd Murray, and we'll get right back to you. Other than that, we're really looking forward to this course, and we're really looking forward to getting you in the field and learning more about your ideas for helping extension programming, and also maybe some ideas for helping some other projects you have in mind in the future.